Um, so doing this reading here, and I already have the cards laid out, so it's a little different than normal, where you guys normally see me. Um, because I wasn't sure if I was going to share this one, and I said to myself, if I see this one card another time, then I'll have to post it. And sure enough, the card actually came out in the reading. So, um, because I have some, it is a blue moon today, so that might be why. I have an owl card on this one deck that's just staring at me, that's sitting in my with my other decks. And then I happen to spot another owl card on the bottom of another deck that I have on my desk. And then, of course, when I used my other animal oracle card deck during the reading, the owl card actually came out here. So, like, yeah. Anyhow, I don't know if you guys can see that there. Yeah. Sorry, I'm using this feature here. Trying to, anyway. Yeah. Anyhow, so I'm gonna go through, and I was like, well, yeah, definitely have to post it now. But kicking off, what happened is, sorry, I gotta take a little sip here. I don't know why my mouth got dry all of a sudden. So kicking off here, we have the Five of Cups, Six of Wands, and the Seven of Wands. Two of Swords, Hierophant, Nine of Swords with the Star card, Aquarius, on the bottom of the deck. Okay. Um, Aquarius, a fire, air sign, which the full moon is in Sagittarius, I guess. So, some interesting fire air energy there. Okay. Um, the Nine of Swords, of course, that being in the outcome is kind of not the best place, right? But so you might be having some kind of anxiety that is showing itself, or you have some anxiety around a situation. Okay. And I'm not saying that the outcome's always going to be like that, but that's just what it's showing here. All right. Now, so that was giving me a little bit of a story. Okay. And just coming off a Taurus here with the Hierophant as well, but that's also can be considered the marriage card. Well, guess what came out in addition to that in that placement? The Two of Cups. And the card before that for verification is the Temperance card, Sagittarius. And then I also have the Sea Turtles here, which I believe they kind of travel in pairs a little bit, right? Okay. And then also around this anxiety is the Peacock. So you might be a little nervous that, kind of trying to show off or impress somebody is not coming off the way that you wanted, because you have the Three of Pentacles here, because it's like you want this to work. Okay. Especially with the Two of Cups. And, this owl magic card. I mean, on the Two of Cups is a freaking unicorn, and she's like riding the unicorn, like, bareback, of course. The whole romantic gesture of it, right? Whereas the very first line, okay, what also came out was the Six of Cups and the Page of Cups. So, what this tells me is that somebody wanted you to like come clinging back to them, wanted you to be all sad in the Five of Cups, and all that kind of stuff. But you tapped in here with this polar bear mystic. You tapped into something where you're like just looking for the bigger reason in the whole thing, right? And this person, instead of thinking that that's what you were going to end up doing, now it's kind of like they're having to start over and celebrate you in the Page of Cups energy by seeing you on the horse here with the Six of Wands riding into town, like, oh, Well, I guess they are worth, I better toot this horn because, maybe now they'll notice me kind of thing. Okay. Um, so, and the loon intuitive came out here. So, don't lose your intuition when dealing with this person. Um, but this could literally be somebody changing their tune. Okay. Also with the Seven of Wands, I feel like that was just giving a busy energy for the collective, and then the Seven of Pentacles came out and it says gremlins on it. So don't let somebody, just because they're like maybe a new love interest or something, all of a sudden be like, oh, you have to drop all of your Seven of Wands and now pay attention to me. No. And you have the Moose Wisdom card. So that's like, no, I'm not just going to make my whole life this other person. No, I'm not just, going by their schedule, you know, things like that. Okay, then on the bottom of the deck here, with the star card, then you have the Ace of Swords, which is also air energy. So Aquarius again, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. All right, so there is somebody that's like cutting through the crap with the Sagittarius full moon. Okay, which Sagittarius can be known to be pretty blunt, and coming off of Scorpio, they might seem like nice, you know what I mean? But they can still be blunt at the same time. But it's definitely, it's like, but Sagittarius doesn't like try to judge because we know it's a long and winding road. The half horse, half man. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, and also it says frog prosperity here. So you're looking at the situation in terms of what it's trying to teach me. Okay. But for some of you, definitely there could be somebody wanting to come along and have you make a decision here with this Two of Swords. And with the sea turtle protection, this could be a good sign, okay? Where it's like, usually I read the Two of Swords in more of the negative energy, but right now I'm getting more of an upright energy where it's more about trusting your gut and trusting your faith. And that's not saying that you don't have to make a decision, but it's just saying you're not going to have to worry about making the right decision because you've already been patient here with the Temperance card, and it shows the sea nymph on this one. All right. So again, somebody may have underestimated you at the beginning. I don't necessarily know if this is the same person that's kind of giving that a little bit, and that's why they're turning around and tooting their horn now. Because even though maybe you were using your intuition, maybe they weren't. Okay, maybe they were just following around with the crowd or something. Whatever. I don't know. Maybe they had some growing up to do. I don't know. But like this moose here, like all the points on the moose, on the rack, it's like while all that was happening, you just gain another point of wisdom, and you're like, well, yeah, I'm not gonna fall for that, or yeah, just because somebody talks a good game doesn't mean, or yeah, you know what I mean. Um, and that's why you're not throwing away the Seven of Wands. You're still working on it, even if you hit a snag. Okay, so that could be part of this anxiety also, again. So it's like where you have something that's like in the cocoon stage and you're like nervous because with this Three of Pentacles here is like you've worked hard on it, and it's like, I don't know if they're gonna see what I'm going for here. But you did get the peacock again, and it says vibrancy here. So I think as long as you stay the course, it's gonna come to fruition, right? And people are gonna see this star energy for what it is. They're gonna see how hard you've worked at this creation. All right. So for some of you, that might mean then opening yourself up to share that, in maybe a formal commitment type of relationship here with the Hierophant, the Two of Cups, and the Magical Owl card. Okay. So, that is really all I have. This is, wow, 10 minutes, a fairly short message. Okay, so please do be kind to others, especially if you were in the chat today and like the video. But remember, you do not have to be a subscriber in order to like the video. So like away, okay? And I hope you survive this full moon. Hopefully you get to cut the crap as well. What else did they say? Cut to the chase, right? Like, I don't necessarily need to hear the explanation. I just need to know what the problem is because granted there is a solution. Do you know what I mean? And then we'll dig through, right? The missteps in strategy. We'll dig through, documenting all the lessons learned. We'll dig through, but sometimes it's like you need to cut the crap so you can assess, diagnose, fix. Okay, stop the bleeding in essence. All right, so for some of you, I heard the word cauterize. Like, so some of you, it may have felt like there was some kind of open wound, and maybe some of this work that you've been doing has helped cauterize that. Okay, and you might feel like you're a little misunderstood, but at the same time, it's like, don't worry because it's coming to fruition. Okay, and especially with the Ace of Swords, if anything's gonna cut the crap, it's gonna be an Ace of Swords, right? Like, mm, you know, and maybe part of this truth is that you deserve to be prosperous because of how hard you're working. Here it says, let go of the past and embrace change. Opportunities are close at hand. Hop into this new day with joy. Abundance and good fortune await you. Yeah, why not? On the Peacock Vibrancy card, it says here, you were born to shine and inspire. Practice humility to avoid jealousy. Be grateful for life, and more good things will come. Be true to yourself and recognize your brilliance. Yeah, okay. So that should be the reassurance that whatever this Three of Pentacles, whatever you're working on, and this could be one of those cases where if you do have some collaborative partners, okay, they might not be seeing the video, and you're just like, trust the process, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's hard to be a cheerleader outwardly, and it's like you still have to be cheerleading for yourself, right? And if not everyone else is coming to the table with the same kind of passion, then yeah, that can cause some anxiety, sure, right? So this Moose card here, Wisdom, it says, let your head and mind reach to the stars, yet keep your feet grounded on the earth. Listen to the ancient wisdom in your soul. The ancestors speak through you. You know much. Sagittarius, also known as a wise sign, the sage, right? And it says here about keeping your feet on the earth. What was I saying earlier about the half man, half horse? Okay. So, again, a lot of animals sensitive to full moon energies here. You may be as well. Your intuition may come alive around the full moon. Here it says, listen to the song in your soul. Trust your intuition as you have a way of knowing. Emerge from the busy life and seek more solitude. Recognize that you are unique and that you are loved. Okay. Maybe for a while, especially if you are, not partnered, not a partnered person, you might be like, oh, well, nobody's going to understand me. Maybe my person, died or something. But maybe what happened is maybe they had to have kind of an ego death in order to find you, right? Because you're, when you choose to drop the judgments, right, that's peeling away another layer, right, that maybe nobody else got to fully experience, okay, for whatever reason, right? And instead of peeling for you, maybe it got cut, and that's what makes us cry, right, when the onion gets cut, right, versus say peeling the onion. All right, does that make sense? All right, I hope so. This polar bear mystic here, it says, know that challenges make you stronger Have faith when you face adversity. Take time to rest, dream, and renew your strength. Embrace your psychic abilities. You carry the shaman within. Yeah. So instead of being like, oh, another really, hey man, I get it. You're human. Maybe there were tears. Maybe there were grumpy days. Maybe there were days when you were, not as nice as you could have been to other people because you were going through your own stuff, right? You know, um, and at a certain point, that's when that selfishness starts to become, the self awareness, right? And it's like, and then the Six of Cups is Jenny Green Tooth. I mean, this is like, and it's like really, and you were like, really, you're like, I don't want to be that person. That's gross, you know. So this is where you started to look for those silver linings, okay, um, so that you can move forward, right? And once you start celebrating yourself, then it's like this little Page of Cups coming by is like, well, I guess I really don't have much else to do but celebrate too, because you know time ran out on whatever they were doing. Right? Again, his feet are on. It's definitely on the ground with the hooves. So anyway, in this little picture. Which other ones do we have to read here? Sea turtle, protection. You are a master of finding life's flow. Yeah. You were trying to find a way to go with the flow and you did. Yep. Be in harmony with the rhythm and your path will unfold. Yes, it is unfolding. Persevere and you will succeed. You have everything you need to be protected and happy. Okay. So that trusting in the universe, like with the Two of Swords, because that's often shown with a blindfolded figure. It's like we don't necessarily know what the future holds, but we have to trust that this process is the right one. I mean, because many of us have walked in darkness on the other side. Let me tell you how not fun it can be, right? Everybody has a million stories about that, right? And a lot of them all sound the same if you think about it. Okay? So, this owl magic card here, it says, choose to know the truth because you can. Open your inner vision. You can see through deception and cutting the crap. That's what full moon's all about, especially Sagittarius. And see, people mistake Sagittarius for like that always happy go lucky, and it's just like that's part of why they are blunt sometimes because it's like, yeah, we like a Sagittarian doesn't necessarily need all the words. It's like Sagittarius might know on the second or third word that you be lying. And we're like, oh my god, are they even gonna finish the sentence? And then like you hear somebody like blurt out something like blah blah blah, and they're like, huh? And it's like, yeah, I said what I said. And then then the room gets quiet, and it's yeah, because Sagittarius knew. Anyway, don't make me go through all the signs here. Okay, we only got Sagittarius and Aquarius. And see, Aquarius is so like I'm not even worried about this. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the energy you have to be in. Because you're busy creating your vision, man. Like, screw all that other stuff. Okay. Choose to know the truth because you can. Open your inner vision. You can see through deception. Let the past go and make room for a better life. Yeah. Don't get hung up on the, well, this happened to me and this happened to me. Like, I get it. You have to go through that to do healing, you know. But sometimes we don't really know all the things that have happened to us. Or we've blocked them out. But yeah, does it get held in your body? Sure. Right? And there's ways to work through that. Okay. Rise up. Magic and wisdom are your birthright. Okay. So whatever you have to do to let the past go, and with the Hierophant here, that could mean you might end up like studying up on how to let go of trauma. There's a very popular book, The Body Keeps the Score. It is, I have read through part of it. I had not finished it, I will admit. It is kind of a technical in nature book. Okay. If you thought you were gonna sit there and like cry and like read this, it's no, it's more like it's built for like an Aquarius. Do you know what I mean? Like devoid of emotional entanglements. Okay. Aquarius is very good about that, right? And they have a nice world view, right? Okay. Anyway, so take that Aquarian energy and put it to some good use here with the Ace of Swords, right? And keep manifesting those goals, because I feel like that's really going to turn into. And this is so weird, and this is why I needed to do this reading today, because um, we're always told, right, from a young age, like, well, if you work hard, you're gonna make it, right? But sometimes it's like, okay, how long and how hard do we have to be working here for to start seeing the results? Right? And then that's where people get tripped up. And then there's other people that will take shortcuts, and then they bring the karma on themselves, and then they want to point the finger at you and say, well, but you said, well, I didn't know, I didn't say that. You chose to go and do that. That's a different story. Right? That's why I don't like how people get so obsessed with all the political figures and stuff, and it's like it's just latching onto the latest thing to obsess over, versus taking a look, you know um and saying, okay, this is where we're at, and we don't necessarily need to dive into how we got here right now, but this is where we're at. Right? Like I said earlier, assess, diagnose, fix. Okay? All right. That is message retracted. I'll never see it. Anyway, hopefully y'all are enjoying and surviving this blue moon. It's only once in a blue moon. I also have a song called Out of the Blue. It's out on my Ophelia's Band channel in case you are interested in some music. It's also on all streaming platforms. I believe I have a link to my music page in the About Me section of this channel, my Manifest Wisely channel. Anyway, hopefully y'all are doing all right on this weekend, okay? So, take this opportunity to let it go. Because the past is not, they say, oh, well, it'll repeat until you learn a lesson. Okay, but that's, again, sometimes a choice, right? So if you even start to make that attempt to look at something with fresh eyes, you're going to start to see things a little differently, right? Versus the, oh, same shit, different day, you know what I mean? And, you can do that too, but look for those magic possibilities, okay? So yeah, somebody might need to do some reading, some trauma healing reading. That as well could be the part of this temperance card here and this protection card. So this is, I think, why, for some of you that have learned to start celebrating yourself, it's like because you started forgiving yourself, right? And because it was like, oh, this Five of Cups, I wasn't enough for so and so. Forgive yourself all those times when you thought you weren't enough for so and so, right? And with this Nine of Swords, this anxiety peeking out, it's like, oh, is that are they going to reject me this time? Oh, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, they do. But you've already been through that before. So, at the end of the day, it's like, who cares? You're still achieving your vision. You're still doing the thing. You're still going for that prosperity, saying, I deserve this. I worked for this. I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to enjoy this. All right. And again, it says here on the front, prosperity, let go of the past and embrace change. Opportunities are close at hand. Hop into this new day with joy. Abundance and good fortune await you. Yeah, it's almost like, the faking it till you make it. But, you know, if you were a movie character, right? How would you want to be walking through your day? Do you want to be walking through your day with your head down, kicking the dirt? No. Or do you want to be standing with your shoulders back and your head up with a little smile? Maybe you got some sunnies on, like whatever, Hey. Maybe you got a little shuffle in your walk too. Who knows? But it's out of what's going to come ahead because you're confident in your abilities, because you've made it this far. The wisdom you have, this moose wisdom here, the wisdom you have is not going away. Nobody can take it away from you. However, it is that you gained that wisdom. All right, there's street smarts, there's book smarts. It doesn't matter how you gained it, you still gain that wisdom. Some people didn't have to experience that hard knock. You know what I mean? Maybe they just read about it in a book, and thank God they were able to do that. Right? It's not, for us as a collective, it's not us to be trying to put that on other people. That gets a little weird. Moose, wisdom. Let your head and mind reach to the stars, yet keep your feet grounded on the earth. Listen to the ancient wisdom in your soul. The ancestors speak through you. You know much. Alright, and this moose is hairy. Is this like Sasquatch's like pet, the moose? Seems like it. Anyway, that is all I have for this session. So until next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye-bye.